I've improved my speaking skills every single day for over 1,000 days. And 3 years ago, I could barely hold a conversation. I would avoid eye contact with everyone. I would stumble over my words in conversation, and I felt shy and invisible. But today, after lots of trial and error, basically speak for a living. I work in sales, and outside of work, I even help people improve their communication skills. And you've probably heard about the 10,000 hour rule to become a master. It was actually coined by Malcolm Gladwell in this book. This book completely changed my life when I read it a couple of years ago. But here's the truth you probably don't know, and that is that it only takes 20 hours to become decent at something. Only 20 hours of developing a skill and you become decent. You become better than 80% of people. But why then do so many people have terrible speaking skills? I read something that 90% of people are basically afraid of having conversations and see themselves as being bad at public speaking. And the reason is that most people never put in those 20 hours. And in this video, I want to share with you my story and everything I've learned in these 1,000 days. My goal here is to compress the time frame of you becoming a decent speaker and then eventually, if you want to, become a great one. And in this video, I think it's very important that you take notes if you actually want to improve your life. You know, nothing will happen if you don't take notes. So always have your paper ready, have your pen ready to go. If not, just write it down on your phone. That's also good enough. But you have to take action. That is my only request from you. So how everything started for me was about three and a half years ago, when I went through a very hard time. And I wouldn't say I wasn't depressed or anything, and I'm not asking you to feel sorry for me, but I'd essentially lost a lot of money in business. I tried to start a business, and I had basically lost 40,000 euros. And at the time, I was not making a lot of money. I was maybe making 10,000 a year. I was going to school at the same time, so this was a lot of money. It put a lot of stress on me. And outside of my business not going well and essentially failing, going bankrupt, I was also very socially awkward, and all of this stress, all of this anxiety from my business not going well, from me failing in school as well, it just made me very, very anxious and very annoying day to day. I noticed that all my conversations with my family, there were just arguments. I was losing friends because no one wanted to be around someone who was just stressed, who wasn't able to communicate effectively, and someone who just was in a bad mood all the time. And this was essentially me for 1 to 2 years in 2021, 2022. And it's quite emotional for me, but I remember this one time when I was at my grandma's place, and I was just thinking about everything. I was in a very bad mood. I hadn't slept in a week, and everything was just falling apart. My whole life was falling apart. And I was walking down this road, and I felt my heart pounding extra fast. It pounded, really fast, just all of a sudden. And my first thought was that I'm having a heart attack. That was my first thought. But my second thought was, if I died right now, it wouldn't be that bad. And in that moment, it hit me. Yo, Felix, you cannot think this way. This is not healthy. This is not good. You can't be in your early 20s and being almost depressed, almost wanting to die. That could not be my life. This was not what I had planned. And it was in that moment I realized that I had to do something. I had to start improving myself, or I would probably die within a couple of years from just being overstressed and being in a bad mood and everything. And in that moment, I started self improvement. I started going to the gym. For the first time in my life, I also started reading books because I realized that there's something I don't know. I need more knowledge, and I need to start improving myself. So I started reading books on self improvement, on sales, how to make money, on psychology, because I also realized that one of my biggest problems was just my mindset. I was stressed all the time. I was anxious. I couldn't communicate with people, and everything was just crumbling. So I knew that I had to do something. So I started taking more and more action, and slowly but surely I started feeling better about myself. I started building up my confidence. Over time, I actually improved quite a lot. And the biggest thing that I focused on, and the biggest impact on my life, has been improving my communication, and in particular my speaking skills. Because when I started improving my speaking skills, I started taking social risks. I started having conversations with people. I started listening to podcasts on how I can improve my mindset. That was when I also got a job in sales, and at first I sucked. I was absolutely terrible, but that was the only job I got in sales, and it was solely based on commission. And if you've ever worked in sales or just solely on commission, you know that you eat what you hunt. So I had to make money. I had to make sales to be able to get paid, and that was very good for me. Even though that was very hard, and going through these times were very tough for me, I've never in my life seen as much growth as from these times. And I truly believe in the saying that hard time creates strong men. This has at least been the case for me. And just taking this positive outlook on life, that going through hard times, going through difficult challenges, is beneficial for you, and that you can learn from everything that happens in your life. That is very powerful. So today I just want to tell you the biggest ways you can also improve your communication skills. And it essentially boils down to three things. There are three things you have to do to improve your communication skills and improve your speaking. And these are the ones that I've been focusing on, but fortunately for you, by listening to this video and by starting taking action today, you can compress this time frame. You will be able to become a very good speaker in a lot shorter period of time. And I'm not saying I'm Steve Jobs yet, all right? I'm not there. I'm still improving every single day, and making these videos, this is a form of improvement as well. That's why I like making these videos, because when I make these videos, I am not only helping you, I'm helping myself, because I get to speak. And hopefully you can also give me some feedback in the comments on what I can do to improve. Please make sure to do that if you appreciate this. And the first thing you need are strategies and techniques. You don't want to be like me and do everything with just trial and error. You want to have the right framework, because when you have the strategies and you have the techniques, that's when you don't need to guess. You don't need to guess on what should I improve, what should I do to become better. So that is the first thing. Make up some sort of plan on what exactly is it that I need to improve on. It might be that you're already quite good at speaking, but there are just a few tweaks you can make to become actually decent, and then eventually also a master. And this is also one of the reasons I make these videos, that you can get the tactics from these videos. But the second point is practicing, because it doesn't matter if you have all the techniques, all the strategies in your head. If you don't practice, you will not get better. Repetition is the mother of learning. That is something I heard from Jim Quick. He's like a brain coach, brain performance coach or something. I actually have his book here as well. So how can you then practice? Well, there are many ways you can practice your speaking skills. The best way that I've found is just making voice recordings on your phone. So just speaking more. It doesn't matter how you speak or where you speak or to whom, but you need to speak more. If you want to, it's quite obvious, but if you want to get better at speaking, you have to speak more. So have the confidence to go and have conversations with other people. But you can also do it for yourself. You can speak to yourself, make videos like these, have voice recordings on your phone. But everything you can do where you get to speak more, that is absolutely fantastic. And the third point is the one that most people skip on. But if you skip on this, you will never become great, or you will never even become decent. And this is for the real winners, for the real action takers. This one is for you. And that is feedback and analysis. You can't fix what you don't see. And there are probably holes in your armor right now that you don't know about. And a good analogy for this is you have two salespeople. You have one veteran with 20 years of experience, and then you have a junior with only 2 years of experience. Who do you think is better? Most people would say that, yeah, the one with 20 years under their belt, they have to be better because they've done it for 10 times longer. But what if I tell you that the person who has been selling for 20 years has only been practicing their selling skills and analyzing their selling skills for 1 year and repeated that 20 times over? And the other person has been practicing, putting in the reps, and analyzing themselves for 2 years. If that's the case, the first person has just repeated the same things, 20 times. And they have 1 year of experience. They have 1 year of practice and essentially 1 year of skill, when the other person has 2 years. You have to put in the reps, you have to put in the work, you have to have the strategies, but you also have to analyze yourself. And now some of you might be asking, but Felix, I don't have anyone around me to give me feedback. How can I get this feedback that I so much need to become great? I'm glad you asked. And in reality, you probably have people around you that can give you feedback. What I did was that I just asked my friends, I just asked my family members, the ones I had, hey, I'm trying to improve my speaking skills. Would you be open to, telling me a couple of things that I could improve on? Immediately, they said, hey, happy for you. I'm glad you're improving your speaking skills. Well, I think that you're having many filler words. I think you're just yapping on too long about things that don't make sense. You could improve your articulation. You are kind of shy and you sound nervous in these particular cases. So focus on that. And fantastic. That was fantastic for me because now I got feedback. Now I got something to work with. Now I knew that, all right, I have to start, improving on my articulation. I had to start improving on my tonality and cutting out these filler words. And another good strategy, if you don't want to ask for feedback or you don't have anyone that gives you maybe good or honest feedback, is just taking matters into your own hands. A great practice that I've done for a couple of years now, I think I've done this for 2 years, is that almost every day, not every day, I'm going to be honest, but most of the days, I record a 3 to 5 minute video of myself talking about a certain topic. And ideally, if you do this, you want to talk about a topic that you know quite a lot about, so you can actually get a good assessment of your speaking skills. So it's not a lack of knowledge, but you can actually focus on how you're saying the things and how you're speaking. And then just listen back to that and analyze. I know in the beginning it's cringing. It's very cringe to listen to your own voice, but over time you will get used to this. And first of all, it's good to get used to hearing your own voice, because whatever you do, you'll probably hear your voice from time to time. So it's just good to get used to that. But doing this exercise, only doing this, and then you can also transcribe the words with ChatGPT, for example. You can transcribe the words so you see your filler words. Just by doing this, you will probably immediately notice, oh, I didn't realize I have all these filler words. Oh, when I say that, I sound very unsure. I yap on way too long. And that part of my speech is very very unclear. So take action on this, and be creative in getting feedback, getting analysis, and doing it yourself as well. And if you're interested in getting my feedback, I also have a new program that I've developed in the recent weeks. And this is the program basically has all the things that I've learned over the years, and all the things that I've taken from working with people one-on-one in real life, because I haven't done this online as much. So this is straight from working with people one-on-one, just physically in real life. So if you want my feedback on that, link in the description. But otherwise, you can definitely also do this on your own, but just have the courage to ask other people for feedback. But of course, in my program, you also get the strategies, you get all the practices, and I will keep you accountable as well, because especially when you start, I think the hardest part is just the psychological part of having the guts to actually do these things, to put in the work, to put in the reps, because it still takes work, to become better. That's the truth. And it hasn't been an easy road for me either. But I hope you found this video valuable, and that you now can go out there and start improving your communication skills, because this is essentially the best skill you can learn. I have not come across a more important skill to learn than communication and speaking skills, because you can also think about your value in the marketplace. It doesn't matter how good you are, how smart you are, if you have all the hard skills. If you don't have the soft skills and you don't have the ability to communicate and speak with others, it doesn't matter, because you can't show your value, right? You can't communicate your value to the world and to the marketplace. This has been a long rant, long yapping, but hopefully you found value from this. I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye. Bye bye.